What's up guys, my name is Brandon, welcome to Quick Flicks. Today, we are covering Army of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder, releasing in 2021. Army of the Dead is Zack's return to the zombie genre after his very successful directorial debut in 2004, Dawn of the Dead, which I covered in the past if you want to check it out. Fun fact, Snyder actually wrote the original script to Army of the Dead back in 2008, but due to many issues with Warner Bros, it never got greenlit, and let me tell you, that script was pretty insane. I won't get too much into it, but I definitely recommend you research it online. With a prequel and an animated series on the way, this is sure to turn into a cinematic universe, which I'm more than okay with. Army of the Dead follows a man named Scott Ward, played by Dave Bautista, a former mercenary who gets offered a job to rob a wealthy entrepreneur's vault just under his casino in Las Vegas, containing over $200 million. The only issue, Las Vegas has walls up around it, and a metric heck ton of zombies swarming throughout it. So let's get rambling and jump into the movie. The movie opens up with some soldiers at Area 51, opening the gates to allow a convoy to roll out. A neat little mystery, you can see two really bright lights in the sky, and they fly off really quickly. I believe these are UFOs, and just so you know, we just got into this movie, but there's gonna be a lot of theories throughout. Anyway, we cut to a couple celebrating their recent wedding, heading to Vegas for their honeymoon. The bride gives the groom a missile hickey, distracting him from driving. At the convoy, the soldiers are talking about what they're hauling, theorizing that it could be aliens, distracting them from the road as well. While talking, the two vehicles run into each other, causing a massive explosion, killing everyone aboard. A couple of the other vehicles in the convoy dodge the wreck and pull off, stepping out of their vehicles to see the mayhem. They radio back to Mothership, telling her about the situation. Alarmed, she states to get his men out of the area and leave immediately. But the soldiers on the other hand don't hear this message, and they slowly walk up to the payload. But they stop in their tracks as the door swings open. A super zombie known as the Alpha jumps out and bites a soldier, and takes out the rest of the crew. Sergeant Kelly grabs Corporal Bissell, and they run off into the desert startled. Why on earth did they not just take their vehicles? I don't know. While running, they hear some spooky noises, stopping them in their tracks. They scout the area when Kelly falls down, scaring them both. Bissell goes to pick him up, but gets tackled by the Alpha zombie, whose name is Zeus. Zeus brutally tears off his jaw, and then proceeds to bite Kelly on the neck. They quickly turn into zombies, and walk to the hillside to see Las Vegas in front of them. We then get a gnarly intro of Las Vegas being overrun by Zeus and his army of zombies, while a cover of Elvis Presley's Viva Las Vegas plays by Richard Cheese, who also covered Down with the Sickness in Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. Fun fact, Snyder originally had a shot in this introduction of a zombie with his schlong flopping around, with a big bite taken out of it, but he ultimately deemed it too inappropriate and removed it. I think that would have been hilarious. Anyway, definitely check out this intro, it's fantastic. After the intro, we meet ex-mercenary Scott Ward, who is working at a diner called Lucky Boy. He's notified that a man named Tanaka wants to speak to him. Tanaka is played by Hiroyuki Sanada, who just recently played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 2021, which will definitely be covered sometime. That's a fantastic film. They have a sit down and discuss Tanaka's plan to send Scott into Las Vegas to acquire the $200 million sitting in his vault, just below his casino. He offers Scott a cut of $50 million and tells him to think on it for the night. Outside Vegas, we meet Scott's daughter Kate and her friend Gita. They're harassed by Officer Cummings, who's making inappropriate remarks and acting as if they're infected and need to be dealt with. You know, just abusing his power. Definitely not a good guy. Later that night, Scott awakes from a nightmare of him killing his infected wife in front of Kate. This is enough motivation for him to call Tanaka, agreeing to take the job. He begins assembling his team and starts off recruiting two old partners, Maria and Vandero, offering them each a cool 15 mil. Next up is Peters, a helicopter pilot played by Tig Notaro. A crazy fun fact, she was actually digitally added into the movie. Her character was originally played by Chris D'Elia, but allegations were made toward the man, which I don't really want to get into, but due to this, Netflix made the right choice by replacing him with Tig. They spent millions to accomplish this via green screens. What's crazy is Tig hasn't even met half the cast, and yet interacts with them quite a bit in this film. Movie magic as they say. It's a crazy thing. They tell her the job, offering her 2 mil. Peter saying for show. Searching for more members, Maria points to a man who went viral online for killing some Zeds, known as Mikey Guzman. They offer him 500 G's, Mikey definitely hopping on board. Lastly, they hit up a German guy known as Dieter, who is a locksmith. He's definitely a fan favorite amongst most viewers who watch this film. They show him the blueprints, and he says that he can give it his best shot, but there's no guarantee that he can crack this thing. Now that the crew is assembled, we get a montage of them preparing themselves, grabbing some of their favorite weapons and firearms, while a cover of Bad Moon Rising by Thea Gilmore plays. The next day, the group arrives at the warehouse to discuss the plans further with Tanaka. Guzman brings in a couple of friends to help out, Damon and Chambers. They review the plan, which includes zombie killing, cracking the vault, all while Peters gets to the chopper on the rooftop of Sodom, ready to fly the crew out of there. But honest question, since this is Tanaka's vault, why doesn't he just tell them the code? Makes no sense. Damon finds this plan a bit too scary and dips out of there. But no worries, they gain another member, Martin, who is Tanaka's head of security. He knows the ins and outs of the casino, so he'll be a huge help. Tanaka's only concern is how the group is going to get into Vegas without being caught. Scott figures their best way is via Kate. He meets up with her to ask for the favor, but she doesn't really like him much anymore, due to his lack of comfort whenever he killed her mom. Attempting to rebuild their relationship, he offers her his entire $15 million cut from the job in exchange for help getting into Vegas, as Kate has connections from the quarantine zone. She agrees to help him and arrives the next day to pick up the group, who are all building relationships with one another. She takes them on into the quarantine zone and introduces them to a smuggler who will be sneaking them into Las Vegas, Lily, who is known around the camp as the Coyote. While they prepare, Kate walks the camp when she finds Gita's kids crying. She learns that Lily snuck their mom into Vegas in an attempt to get $5,000 to pay off an officer, freeing herself and her children from the quarantine zone. Kate don't really like that though, as it's likely Gita will die in there, and repays the favor to Lily, then telling Scott that she's going with them so she can find her. They have a back and forth for a moment, but Scott eventually gives in and allows her to come. Alright, now that we finally have our group, it's time to go in.
Trust me, we need another person.
Oh, there's more. Lily recommends bringing the dirty officer Cummings to help out, Scott agreeing to do so. They finally set on their journey and enter the overrun Las Vegas. The VFX breakdown of how they created Vegas was a ton of fun. The crew spent 3 weeks in Vegas, sending drones in the air and capturing the most notable locations to try and get the most accurate render they could possibly achieve. I definitely recommend checking it out, as it's really interesting. Beautiful Las Vegas, where people can win millions and oh my god, there's a zombie tiger. But he just keeps moving on about his business. Lily informs the group that it was actually the magician duo Siegfried and Roy's tiger, and that it guards the territory with no way around. Lily does the most rational thing, and flirts with Cummings in order to retrieve his gun. He hands it over, Lily then shooting him with it, and telling the group making a sacrifice is the only way to keep the alphas, who are an advanced zombie, being smarter and faster than the shamblers, happy, and will leave the group alone. They trust her, and since he's a woman abuser, heck it, let them take him. 2 alphas make their way to him, and snatch him right up, but let the group be. They take him to the Olympus Hotel, which is like their little kingdom. Cummings gets dragged by the alphas into the middle of a horde of shamblers. When Zeus shows up to the party, all zombies bowing down to him. He snuggles up to his alpha queen, the two obviously loving each other. Fun fact, Schneider has stated that he wants the viewers to feel empathy for the infected by giving them emotions. To me, it feels a bit like I Am Legend, where Robert learns that the alpha really only hates him because he kidnapped his queen. Later on, Peters and Scott are chatting, which this is another time to point out the amazing job the editors did with Tig, and inserting her into the film fantastically. I mean, if you didn't know she was digitally added in, you probably wouldn't even think she looks out of place. Anyway, she voices her concerns about Martin, as he seems quite suspicious, but she isn't the only one, as Chambers makes it clear to him that she doesn't trust him. Scott takes note of this, and assures he'll keep an eye on him. Later on, everything seems to be going great, besides the hundreds of hibernating zombies blocking their path. They decide to stealthily sneak through them, as it's the only path available, leaving a trail of glow sticks for the others to follow behind. Being in the very back, Martin takes the opportunity to let the viewers know that Chambers was right, and tosses the glow stick away from the safe path, diverting her into an unsafe route, eventually getting too close to the Zeds, waking them up one by one, but she handles them like a BA. However, one of their arms knocks down some pans, waking up the horde. She goes John Wick on them when she reaches the exit, but Martin blocked it off, forcing her to find an alternate path. She breaks through a window and makes a final stand, while the group just sits there and watches? Are your guns empty? What's going on here? Getting overwhelmed, Guzman shoots her jerry can, blowing them fools up. That darn Martin. Hate that guy. The group finally makes it to the casino and find blueprints on a table, wondering if Tanaka sent groups before them who were unsuccessful in the past. Says that it's news to him. However, these folks are finding him a bit fishy, but hey, at least he's got jokes.
Thank you.
The team decides to break off into groups to get the power on, get to the vault, and make sure the helicopter is ready. Lily and Martin do a perimeter check when the Queen Alpha and her pal show up. They shoot her with a better version of the Spider-Man gun. Her pal, not liking that, attacks Martin, but Lily blows his head clean off. At the Olympus Hotel, Zeus walks into a room to find the captured Gita and her friends. He gets ready to take one of them out when he hears the cries of his queen. He looks out the window to see Martin slicing her head off, which, by the way, the head is a really cool animatronic, some more behind the scenes stuff that I definitely think you should check out. This definitely infuriating him. That don't look too good. Back at the casino, Scott and Kate work on the generators, while Vandero, Guzman, and Dieter are underground, attempting to open the vault. They notice some dead bodies on the ground that look suspiciously familiar. One has an identical necklace to Maria's, another has the same exact shirt as Peter's, and the other is wearing Scott's bandana. Dieter blows it off as a previous team that failed, but Vandero goes in depth about how it's really just them, and they're all stuck in a time loop of just fighting and dying, where Tanaka is the puppet master devil. He's just joshing with them, trying to freak Dieter out, and blows up the shaped charges to get past the gate. There's quite a few things pointing to this theory that could potentially make it true though. The idea is that this is the group's 4th time going through this situation. The hints include how the key necklace on the corpse has 3 holes, while the living Maria's has 4. Vandero correcting Dieter how many times he shot his first zombie.
I shot it 3 times. Actually, it was 4.
And even Zack Snyder himself adding fuel to the fire. I just want to say though, this time loop theory is actually really interesting, and I hope Snyder decides to explore that realm if a sequel ever comes out. Before heading to the vault, Dieter realizes there are some booby traps to watch out for. Vandero goes up to get a test subject, luring him to the vault with a microwaved hand. On the way to Feast, he gets shot by some darts, takes on some heavy machine gunnery, and finally gets smushed between 2 walls. Ouchie. Meanwhile, Peters is working on the roof, trying to get the helicopter ready to go, but notices it's a hot piece of junk, and having issues starting it up. This definitely isn't good, as the rest of the group is downstairs watching the news, and learn that the president has moved the nuke detonation up an entire 24 hours, giving them just 90 minutes to get the goods and get out. Hearing that news, they head to the vault downstairs, interrupting Dieter's lockpicking. He informs them that he only has one more attempt, or else it locks forever. He needs about 30 minutes of pure silence to get the job done. Out on the streets, Zeus is riding his zombie horse, which, fun fact, was actually a real horse. They put him in full makeup, but made absolutely certain that he was always comfortable and not in any pain. What a good boy. He comes across his queen's body, making him quite upset. He takes her back to the Olympus and tears out a fetus of her stomach? What on earth? This is definitely an homage to the zombie baby in Dawn of the Dead, but come on, Zach, this is just weird. And sorry, I can't really show this on YouTube. Zeus holds up the little guy, amassing his horde. They head to the casino to kill the group, luckily not finding Kate, who stupidly snuck out to go find Gita. Fortunately, Dieter opens the vault, allowing the crew to bag the money and get the frick out. Scott shortly notices Kate's disappearance and suits up to go find her. Maria offers to help and confesses her love to him before heading out. Scott sharing the same feelings. I like these two as a couple. I hope they make it out and enjoy the money to get bloody Christ. That was unexpected. Scott goes absolutely berserk and battles these fools off, killing them all. Oh man, I was really hoping he'd Batista bomb one. Maybe next time. Martin and Lily lead him in the right direction as the zombies start breaking the elevator roof in. However, Dieter and Vandero stay behind to secure the bag they worked hard for, but the zombies finally break in. They fight them off until Zeus drops in. Oh, they're definitely in some deep-ish now. Also in some deep-ish are Lily, Scott, and Guzman, as Martin locked them in at their escape route. He reveals Tanaka didn't even care about the money, as the head is worth $2 billion alone. Well, wait a minute. Why didn't Tanaka just send them in there to get the zombie head then? What was the point in lying about going to the vault to get the money? It would have been so much easier and quicker to send a group in there to get a zombie head and just get right out. It doesn't make much sense to me. Anyway, Scott hands Lily the saw, and she gets to work on cutting a piece of the wall out instead of just cutting the hatch lock above them? What? Okay, I'll stop nitpicking. Anyway, Martin makes it outside, checking on his prized possession, only to find out that Lily replaced it with a money counter, peeing him off, but luckily gets put out of his misery by being toyed around by a zombie tiger. Funnily enough, this isn't the first time actor Garrett Dillahunt has been killed by a tiger in a film. as he was in a tiger slasher Burning Bright and mauled to death by a tiger. After being played with for a bit, the tiger eventually takes a rip at his skull, tearing off the majority of it. That was freaking awesome, I love that. Back at the vault, Dieter and Vanderohe are attempting to headshot Zeus, but his little metal helmet is protecting him. They run out of bullets, so Vanderohe tries taking him on in a fist fight, but gets absolutely demolished, unfortunately not even standing a chance. Zeus gets ready to bite him when Dieter hits him from behind and pushes V into the vault. He sacrifices himself and locks him in there. Aw, sad. I was actually starting to like these two together a lot. Anyway, Guzman and Scott are slaying some what look to be like robot zombies. When Lily finishes sawing the hole, they get back into the casino, where it isn't too safe either. A horde charges at them and Scott goes berserk, killing everything and anything coming his way. This cool action sequence was achieved by stunt coordinator Damon Caro, who gathered some of the greatest stunt performers, martial artists, and freerunners. Definitely check out this scene to see the BA-ness of Batista slaying the undead. Guzman gets caught off guard and bitten by two zombies. Seeing no way out, he decides to pull the pins from his grenades, sacrificing himself and killing many other zombies in slow motion. Schneider really loves to use the slow motion on character deaths. Scott and Lily make it to the elevator and listen to a fine tune, which to me seems like an homage to Dawn of the Dead, when CJ expressed his love for All Out of Love playing in the elevator. Zeus sees his army dying and doesn't like that very much. He bursts onto the roof to try and stop the three from escaping. Lily tells Scott to go on and get, as she has a plan. She holds his queen's head at gunpoint, but that quite literally does nothing other than make Zeus straight up throw a pipe through her. Well, that was silly. She tosses the head off the building, and it goes splat. No, she's definitely dead. Despite having only 9 minutes till the nuke goes off, Scott convinces Peters to stop by the Olympus Hotel, as he knows that's where Kate's at. They arrive at the hotel, and somehow, Zeus and his army caught all the way up and even beat them there. Scott busts in to find Kate, searching every room. Meanwhile, Kate finds Gita and her friend. They try escaping when a zombified Officer Cummings munches on the no-name lady, Kate then shooting him. You'd think he would have been more of a problem. They turn around to see Zeus and his armada at the end of the hall, so they make a run for it. They get to a locked door that Scott eventually opens from the other side. He charges in to shoot Zeus with a grenade launcher, then heads to the roof. They board the helicopter, but Scott's like, "Hey, let me stand out here and smile at you, Kate, while a nuke and Zeus are on their way." They try flying away, but Zeus leaps for it, showing off these Alpha's abilities. He gets in a tussle with Scott, forcing an accidental shot to hit Peters in the arm. She wipes the blood off the windshield to see the nuke inbound. Zeus breaks Scott's arm, then getting on top of him and biting that big old trapezius. Oh, not the Batista, man. The nuke goes off, stunning Zeus just long enough for Scott to blow his head clean off. More blue goo flying everywhere. Some people really think these zombies are robots, and they might be. The shockwave causes the helicopter to crash. Kate seems to be okay, but unfortunately, Peters and Gita are pushing up daisies. She finds Scott, barely clinging on. The two have an emotional talk, Scott giving her the money from the vault and eventually dying. He shortly turns, but gets one straight to the head. Kate cries, but presumably gets help from a cargo bomb that finds her. Sometime later, through all of the destruction, a little metal door swings open, and out pops Vanderohe and bags of cash. I love the smell of radiation. It definitely doesn't hurt. He walks for hours until coming across a vehicle. He takes off with it and heads to an airport in Utah. He demands a private flight to Mexico City, bribing the lady. She obliges, and Vanderohe sets off. He takes a toast with the flight attendant ladies, but loses his balance and seems to be ill. He goes to the bathroom to clean himself up a bit when he removes his scarf and notices a whittle bite. He giggles to himself, and the movie ends. Let me know what you guys thought of the film. Do you guys think this is all just a time loop? Do you guys think Vanderohe will be the new Alpha? Who knows? Let me know down below, as this will definitely be a fun discussion. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.